All right, welcome everyone. We are live. We are live. So I want to welcome our panelists in our midst. Yeah, as people are coming in. Yeah, welcome to our Leadership and Business Resilience Live series. It's going to be so much fun. Yeah, we've been doing this since the lockdown, and we've been having so many topics, But most of the topics that we've been hosting ourselves and also attending are topics that has to do with hardcore business strategies, financial stimulus packages, right?
Okay.
Pivoting my business, changing my products, changing my services. Yeah, all of that. But today we're going to go down into talking about what's really going on inside, right? So as we have all these changes that's happening on the outside with us and with our teams at work, what exactly is going on inside of us? How are we feeling? What's our emotion roller coaster, right? What does it look like? Right? All of that. So everyone, welcome again as you're logging in. My name is Jean Uy. I am a leadership intelligence coach with the Spark Group Asia, or in short, TSG. Right, so we are really excited to bring to you today. As you can see here, so many amazing people on our screen, right? So we have top coaches, trainers, and teachers on leadership and emotional intelligence in our midst today, right? So let me welcome all of them now, and I'm going to introduce each one of them to you. And as I'm doing that, can you just give a shout out to all of them, right? As I'm introducing them. So let me see who I should introduce first. Okay, let me go fly to Vietnam first.
Yeah.
All right, so we have here Tina Nguyen. She is a leadership intelligence coach with TSG Asia in Vietnam. Woo! Yeah. Let's welcome Tina. Tina, has over 10 years of experience in international education and training industry. And her last position was at Action Coach Southeast Asia in Vietnam. And she was playing the role of Chief Operating Officer there. Yeah, so Tina doesn't just have the coaching background, but also the business background in education and training and coaching business. Okay, so let's all welcome Tina.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. It's my honor to be here in today, so that we'll also not only learn from the other panelists as well. I would like to welcome and thank you to all of the audience here. Very many comments here. Thank you.
Yeah. Wow.
So excited.
Yeah, welcome. QQ, Lillian, Eric, Eileen, I see all of you. All right. Keep your welcome coming. Okay. Now I'm gonna introduce the next awesome person. Okay. I'm gonna fly to Fiji.
Ooh,
That's where Fiji is. I had to look it up, like where exactly is Fiji? So if you're like me in Malaysia, you would have to fly east to Australia.
Yes.
And then keep going after that, right? Don't stop. Keep going out there into the Pacific Ocean, somewhere out there, and then you land on this beautiful island somewhere out there, and it's called Fiji. So let me introduce Sandra Fulyun. Did I say that correctly? Yeah, Fulyun. Okay. And Sandra was originally from Mauritius, and she moved to Fiji about 4 years ago. Yeah, and so Sandra has her own business. She's the managing director of New Beginnings, which was founded in Mauritius, but now she runs it in Mauritius and Fiji. And it's an organizational and people development consultancy and training institute. What's special about Sandra is that she has created a unique leadership development and program, which is so relevant to today's time. It's called the Systemic Development Model for Leadership Teams And what's cool about it is that it talks about collective leadership in navigating through volatile and uncertain times and how to become future fit. Right? So as I read that, I'm like, wow, Sandra, we want to learn from you today, right? So make sure you share half the book about it. Okay? Yeah. So Sandra, I mean, being in a business people business for more than 18 years, but she also comes from a business background where she was regional GM and later VP for the airline industry, especially in the sales department, the sales arena. And very impressive. She was running a business worth US dollars 1 billion, and you grew the sales by 46%. So yeah, I think I see a lot of entrepreneurs online right now, so their ears are open, like, teach me how to do this. Yeah, and today, Sandra is a meta coach, neurosemantics trainer, and very active in women associations. Yeah, Sandra, I'm also pretty active in a women association. Yeah, there's an association called Women Business in Penang, and we're with Penang Development. Yeah, Women Corporation. So yeah, I have some of my women folks from this association tuning in. So ladies, feel free to ask Sandra. Yeah, how do you co-find a women association? You know, as well as be in so many things at one time, right? So let me end by saying Sandra's heart, her passion is with people and culture, right? So yeah, I know we have a lot of leaders in our midst today. Let's talk about leadership. Let's talk about teams, including Tina. Yeah, Tina's passion is about people. It's about building teams. So there's so much in common with all of us today, right? So I know it's a long introduction, but I think I want to say all of that because I want our audience to know who is right here in our midst and really, really shoot us your real life questions right now that you're dealing with yourself, your leaders, and your teams. Okay, so big hand to Sandra, everyone. Yeah, you like what you're hearing? Welcome, Sandra. Welcome, Sandra.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Timmy. It's wonderful to be here. I love the energy. So looking forward to tonight. Thank you.
Oh no. I hear a buzzing sound.
Oh, is the sound not good?
It's coming from there. You all hear that? Yes?
Yes, there's a buzzing sound.
Sandra, keep talking and see.
Oh, is it there still? I can try.
Yeah, it sounds a bit.
Let me try and put my earphones on and see if that's better.
Yeah, okay. It's great.
Now?
Mm-mm.
No. Oh.
Mm-mm.
So
okay.
You can't hear me? No?
It's very soft.
Oh.
Tell you what, Sandra. Sandra, can you log off and log back in? And I'm going to introduce Marzuki, while you're doing that. Perfect. All right, everyone. Thanks for bearing with us. Now I'm going to introduce the beautiful thorn among the roses here. And I leave him for the last because he has an amazing background as well. Yeah. So Mr. Marzuki Mohammed, he is right now working as a certified neurosemantics and NLP trainer and associate certified meta coach with the same organization as Sandra, the International Society of Neurosemantics. And he owns his own business called AL Advancement of Human Potential, Sandran Berhad. And he's involved in enhancing performance and developing the human capital through training, coaching, and consulting. Okay. And like Sandra, like most of us here, he didn't always do this, like he wasn't always a coach. So in his past life, he was younger, but he's not as handsome as now. Right? Yeah. He used to be a soil engineer, and he was in he was the managing director of a construction company that was specializing in soil improvement. And in there, Mazuki has gone international, with this company, working across Asia, and growing the business, as he was one of the few experts in soil at that time. So he's also a person that we can tap in terms of understanding what to do with business, in difficult times. And lastly, I just want to say that what I see of Marzuki is he empowers people to increase their limits. I've been in Marzuki's class, learning from him, and my brains was so stretched that, I was falling asleep at the end of the day. That's how tired he increases people's brains, and he stretches your commitment level, your performance levels, and he just has a heart to help people achieve organizational goals, So like all of us here, his passion is in training, coaching, and consulting. All right, so let's give a super, super warm welcome to Mr. Marzuki Mohammed. Welcome. Woo. All right. Okay, let's see who's joined. Oh my gosh, I see so many familiar names here. Welcome, everyone. Jen, Gamini, Carol, Cleo. Wow, Liz. I see all of you here. Good afternoon, everyone. We have people from Women Biz Sense here in our midst.
Fantastic.
Out. Oh, wow. Awesome. And people who know Coach Marzuki, you're like, Marzuki, I'm here. Supporting's here. Wow. Awesome. Okay. So
fantastic.
Let's get started. So we're here today, right, to really talk about peak performance. And during this time, man, what does peak performance mean? Right? So when we started a few weeks back, everyone felt like, gosh, boom, performance went down because I have no way to perform. So let's go to our first question. And everyone, please write your questions, right? Write it down so we can pick from your questions. Let's make this super interactive. Let's hear from the panelists, and I also want to hear from each one of you. So the first question I'd like to pose is, how do we stay at peak performance and high state of motivation in times of uncertainty and even helplessness? Right. So let me pass this to Mr. Marzuki to kick us off.
Okay, thank you, Jean. This question, what I feel glad about is being able to look at things from simple perspectives, because we can be confused by the chaos, by the confusion around us, and I feel blessed that having the background in neurosemantics allow me to cut through the chase and go to the very basic elements that help. Now, when we talk about peak performance, to me, wow, it's just about going up my ladder of meaning. That's all. Because our performance is linked to our meaning. When we have low-level meaning, that's when our performance is low. So in the context of this disruption happening, the only way that we can go ahead and keep ahead is our productivity. That comes to performance. So I need to keep my performance high. In order to give me that energy, I need to go up that ladder of meaning. So the moment when we had the pandemic starting off in China and then spreading all across the world, and my business just went blip. It just went to zero. So the moment that happened, instead of thinking about, oh no, it's all gone, I just went up that ladder of meaning. So what do I want? What do I want to achieve? And why do I want to achieve that? And why is that important to me? So that question, the why of importance, allows me to explore the higher level meaning. So it becomes to me, it becomes a no-brainer because the moment I explore my higher level meanings about what I am performing, then I'm able to perform. I'm able to get into productivity. So that's why on a daily basis, I don't have times of being bored about what to do because I've got it all lined up what I need to do. So just focus on the activity, and this is where the trick is. As you are doing those activities that you need to do every day, be mindful of your highest intention of doing that. And this is where people lose their performance. They perform and perform and perform, and they lose track of their highest intention. That's when the energy goes down, and that's when they lose their performance. And the higher the level of meaning that you go up, your intention, your purpose of doing, the higher energy that you have. So that's, in short, meaning, performance. This is a classic meaning performance issue that we talk about in neurosemantics.
Interesting. Meaning and performance. Yeah. Maybe you can give an example, like for yourself, or just give an example, like how do I increase and go up that ladder of meaning?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What does that mean?
So what I can also link in with motivation, because when it comes to motivation, it comes from the motive. So what motive do I have to perform? What motive do I have in order to do? So when I link my behavior with my intention, that's when I am working together with the way that I am operating. Let me give you an example. Because when we talk about motive, we talk about the motivation axis, the motivation direction. Some people move towards, some people move away from something. Yeah. So this is what we call the motivation direction. And what I'm going to share with you may not fit every person. That's why you need to know how you move. In my case, I'm more of a moving away from. So the moment I would say the crisis struck, I quickly go into what's the worst case scenario, because I need to trigger myself into activity. Because another of my meta program is I am more of a reflective thinker in my soma. So I think and think and think, I analyze and analyze until I get paralyzed. So
okay.
So understanding that's how I work. Understanding that I need to know what's the thing I'm running from. So I immediately went into worst case scenario. If I don't do anything, I won't have any more business, and I won't have any more income to support my business. I have to close down my business, and I bring it up so close to my face that I've got to run away from that. That gives me the initial impetus in order to move. Then I put in what's ahead. So what is it that I want? What do I want to get out of this crisis? And then I put in the goal in front. Now, I also realized that I am not motivated by tangible goals. So the moment I put out the tangible goal up front, I begin to ask myself, so what's the benefit of that? And what's the benefit of that? So I look into the outcome of outcomes, because that motivates me. And the moment I realize, okay, what I want to focus on is that I want to help people who are like me, who have been severely impacted financially through this crisis. What can I do to help myself and also help these people? So now I begin to go into the ladder of meaning. So it is not about survival of my business. Now it's about bringing along people who are equally impacted by this crisis. So why is that important to me? Because I want people to be able to go through this crisis and become better people in terms of the way that they're operating, in terms of their business, in terms of their relationship. So those are the meanings that I begin to explore. And as I begin to explore those meanings, that's when I get that energy. Yes, that's what I want. And then when I take action, I have all of those energy driving me. So that's what we mean by going up the ladder of meaning.
So as I'm hearing from you, it's not just something tangible. It could be something more than that. So asking ourselves, why do I want to perform now when everything seems to like be meaningless? But as you find that, oh, I want to do this because I want to help other people to be better.
Yes.
And that's meaningful for you. So because that's meaningful for you, then you find yourself in action. Is that how I should think about it?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Because the meaning is not out there. I need to go up inside, find my meaning. So once you understand that process, you deliberately do that.
Okay. Let me open to the floor right now. To Sandra, Tina. Yeah, would you like to add to this question of how do we find peak performance?
Sandra, please.
Okay, so yes, well, welcome everyone. Nice to see all the comments first of all, and all the people joining in. Can you hear me now better, Jean? Am I clearer? Okay, great.
Well,
So thank you, Mazuki, as well. That was really such nice things that you mentioned. Perhaps when I think about what motivates me in terms of when things are hopeless, as in some situations at the moment, what comes to mind is using all areas of our potential. So if you think of, we have a mind, body, emotion state. So when we are feeling helpless, is it our thoughts and our mind? Is it our emotions? Is it our body? Well, it's actually all of it. And interesting, I'm sure many of you have heard VUCA, right? The volatile, uncertainty, complex, and ambiguous times that we are in. And what's interesting is you can actually break it up, because if you think of VUCA, volatile and complexity is a lot of cognitive thinking. So you need to you can use your mind center to come up with complex issues. However, the difficulty, and it's what you mentioned in this question, is the uncertainty and ambiguity. That's the stuff that causes us emotional pain. Because when things are uncertain, we feel a lot of emotions of fear, of sadness. So it's the ability to understand, how do I use all three, what we call three intelligences: your head intelligence, your heart intelligence, and your body, which sometimes is your instinctual intelligences, to be able to motivate yourself, as Mazuki said, to give you that higher meaning. So your rational mind, understanding your rational mind, how can you use your rational mind to motivate you? And then your emotionals, how do I, because your national mind is, I know this. Your emotional mind is when you say, I feel this. And your instinctual mind is, I do this. So in these times, you need to use your wisdom, which is combining all three. Because I know this and I feel this, I need to do that. So sometimes it's blending all of those three together that can help you to come up to those things that Mizuki was talking about, that higher intention. Because I see somebody was asking, I didn't get the name, about how do you get that high intention? And the easy answer to that is to ask, what is so important about this? And when you answer that question, to go back higher and say, well, if this is important to me, then what is that important? Why is that important? And you keep asking that question. You will find, like you were saying, Jean, when you say, I want to help people. Well, why is helping people important to you? And when you find that answer, you can say, well, maybe it makes me, feel that I'm contributing. Well, why is that important? well, maybe when I'm contributing and I'm helping people, it gives me a sense of personal satisfaction or whatever. So the more you ask that question, but why is that important, is a good way to get to the next level of your intention.
Wow, thank you so much. Yeah, Sandra, for just giving us layman term of understanding. Yeah, we have to understand what we're thinking, what we know, and also what we're feeling, putting it all together. And if that makes sense for us, that it moves us to action.
Yeah.
Right?
You want to keep asking yourself that question, why is this important to me? Keep asking yourself that question until you become speechless. That's why Jennifer asked the question, how do we reconnect with our higher intention? It's just by keep asking that question, the same question over and over and over again until you make yourself speechless. Then you know what's your highest intention. You don't need to go to Mount Everest, climb out the mountain to look for a guru to give you the answer. Just kidding.
But it can be done like right here in our own room, right?
Yes. Yes.
Right. Thank you so much. Yeah. Tina, did you want to add anything?
I think I also learned from the teachers, Mazuki and also Sandra, their answer is so great. I think that for even any intention, we should ask ourselves first, because the best person to give the answer is ourselves. So we need to put the question first to look for insight, because like for everything in the crisis time, even though the stressfulness or the overload or emotion happening, that's come from ourselves. So I think that's awesome. Yeah. So I also learned that everything is neutral until we give it the meaning. So the point is how we opposite with that issue, the matter, how we consider based on our beliefs and attitude that leads us to the emotion. So that's why we take a deep breath, put the question, and listen to our inner first. I think that's the priority.
Thank you. Yeah. So I hope we have some answers to the questions that were asked. Yeah. That we know how to connect to our higher intentions, higher meaning. And if we can get there, and like Mazuki say, until you're speechless, it's like, yes, that makes me feel like on cloud 9. Then automatically we would drive ourselves to higher performance of doing stuff. Right. And I'm seeing here, Marissa says it's important not to lose your higher intentions. Because now that we understand, if we lose that, the performance goes down.
Yeah.
Right. And Jessica, thank you. Meaning drives action. And Surinder says, mind, body, and thought will drive us to the meaning. It's not just the mind, not just the feeling. Yeah, it's everything together that you feel, in your mind and body and emotions. Yeah. Awesome. Well, you say, so clear. Thank you, Sandra. Makes perfect sense what you just said. And someone said, Erin, find the why. Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah. I know many of us follow Simon Sinek. He talks about knowing your why and asking the why. Not just knowing the destination or the what, but why are you doing all of this every single day to get to the what? Right? Awesome. Great, thank you. Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Looks like everyone is happy with the first question and the answers. Yeah. So let's continue to talk a little bit about motivation. Motivation. How do we motivate ourselves to inspire our team when I may be feeling troubled myself? So we've heard that if it goes on the way it is, 80% of businesses may shut down. So if you're an entrepreneur, you go like, gosh, I'm troubled myself. I don't know where my next sale's coming from. And if it's going to be big enough to feed my employees. And if I'm an employee, right, you'd be worried about how long can the business continue? How do I motivate myself if I see my managers also feeling very troubled?
It's true. It's true.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So who would like to answer that first?
Okay, I'll jump in since
All right, go, Marzuki.
the thing is, in order to, if you remember going on the aeroplane, they say that when the oxygen mask were to come down from the compartment, you put the mask on yourself, and if you are traveling with a child, put the mask on yourself first, only then on the child, because the the instinct for the mother or father is to put on the child. But if the oxygen drops so low, you die and the child dies. Okay. Now
Right.
you need to put the oxygen mask on yourself. You cannot motivate somebody from a low level of motivation. So you need to handle that emotion first. So the first thing here is to metastate your troubling emotion. You may be experiencing frustration. You may be experiencing fear or anger, even due to what's happening now. You need to handle that emotion first. Only then you can motivate others. And it's about reframing. It's about there are many different techniques that you can use in order to metastate that troubling emotion, whether it is sadness or fear. However, the key thing that I'm noticing that people miss is that they tend to jump to step 2 or step 3. Step 2 or step 3 is look at the bright side that is going to be over, and you don't handle the initial emotion first. And in many cases, I've come across people who jump on quickly looking at the bright side, positive thinking kind of thing.
Yeah.
However, they tend to look back to where they were because they did not handle the negative emotion in the first place. So the first step is to accept that you feel that negative emotion. The first step is acceptance, because it's on a continuum. The continuum of rejection, acceptance, appreciation, and awe. Now, if you reject, you are not taking into account that emotion. If you don't accept, you are not taking into account the emotion. You cannot appreciate fully. So first step is to accept. Yes, I feel scared. Yes, I feel upset about what's happening. Yes, I feel fearful of my financial future. Just to accept it. And accepting means just, yes, that's it. It's from that state, not from the state of, okay, oh, there's nothing else for me to do. I have to accept it. That is rejection with acceptance. It's about accept that I feel this. And in order for you to be able to fully accept it, is as Sandra mentioned earlier, to feel that. If I'm feeling scared about what's happening now, is to give myself the space to feel that. Allow yourself to feel that first, fully and completely, and then you can accept. So when people taboo that feeling, to disallow themselves from feeling scared or feeling angry about things, that's when they try to push it aside and try to move to the second step, and that's what caused them to loop back over and over and over again. So how to motivate myself? First, to accept that I'm feeling down. First, to accept that I'm feeling scared about this. Once I'm able to accept that, only then you can reframe it. Now you can look on the bright side. My little granddaughter likes to look at things from the funny side, so I've come to be able to look from that perspective as well. What's funny about? So these are what we call reframing, to meta state, bringing in resourceful state, bringing in empowering states in order to handle that situation. When I am sound with myself, I am healthy mentally, emotionally, spiritually with this situation, only then I can communicate that to the others. So if I am from the state of being motivated to do positive things, when I communicate to others, that's when I transfer or induce that state of motivation in others. So I need to make sure that I get myself right. So having the skill of managing states is key. It's a leadership skill.
Wow, that's so much. Thank you, Mazuki. Yeah, so I'm hearing it is a process.
Yes.
Before we can even motivate ourselves, we start from where we are troubled, and we have to acknowledge and accept that feeling and not push it somewhere, right? Yeah, and then through that we can then appreciate and start thinking what we're gonna do after that. Awesome. Yeah, so we have a statement, a long one written by Keng Kok Chi. Can you put that up? Yeah, so it says here, talking about, just like Viktor Frankl, the Holocaust survivor, that many of us, may know about this story. And I guess it's reminding us that when we're no longer able to change the situation, that's when we're forced to change ourselves, right? And so in that space of having to choose ourselves, it's our response that is going to determine our growth and our freedom. Because there's nothing you can do with the environment. We can't blame COVID. We can't blame anyone. It's our response that's going to determine. Yeah, what do you think about that?
I really love the from Mazuki about the accept the change, and also accept that we have the fear, and we also. So I really love that. So I also have the input for the fear. One of the things keep we motivated is we can see the emotion and the destination and the why. We have mentioned about the meaning of our action, but parallel to that inside, we also have the fear. So please keep in mind that what make we fear. So fear is from FEAR. So we fear of the false. So everyone, when we doing business or we do everything else, we also fear of the false. We always too afraid that we need to be right. We are not allowed to be wrong. So that's the number one. The second, we also fear of the expectation. From the employee position, or from being a mother, or from being wife, we also looking for someone expectation to of ourselves. So we also fear of that, and we also a fear of losing appearance, especially when you are a boss or you are a leader. So you'll say, oh, if I make something wrong, I also lose my appearance, my face off. So that's also another fear, and and also the responsibility. Something we consider, because the meaning when we have get the emotion high, we lose intention. So we consider that as the responsibilities. So also, I think that also another input for all of you to know about what are your fears and take it off. And that also keep you motivated forward.
Yeah. Thanks, Tina, for calling out. Yeah, it's true. The fear factor, right? When we all know when we're out of the comfort zone, we step into first the zone of fear. And we'll be there for a while. And I mean, we don't want to run away from fear. I mean, we have to face it. We have to face it. We have to accept it. We have to acknowledge it. We have to go through that before we can take the next step. All right, I'm seeing here, people are saying, fear is false expectations. It's actually not real, So we make it worse than what it thinks, right? Like we create the monster in our own mind. Is that true? And the monster gets uglier and uglier as we play it out in our mind. And I have a question here that I want to throw to the audience too. It says, can we put that up by Cleo? Thanks, Cleo. Yeah, I see a question. How do we know when we are taking too long in accepting or embracing the negative feelings? So it's true, we have to be there to feel it, acknowledge it, accept it. But when does it get too long? Is it possible to get stuck in there? Maybe Sandra.
Mazuki, you can go. You were going to say something.
This is where we are running two circuits. One is the circuit that is internal inside our head. The other is external, what's happening out there. So what will tell us whether we are too long is what's happening out there. So as we are consumed by our fear, we may be frozen, or we may try to run away, but the things out there is going to continue to happen. So even if you lose the love of your life, the world is going to go on. So to be able to come into your senses, look at reality, and let reality tell you that, have I been there too long? And especially the people who love you, who want you to succeed, they can give you the feedback that, yes, you've been there for too long. So the thing is, once you have the skill, you don't need to stay there for too long. To be able to feel, accept, and take the next step of appreciation and moving on. And when I mention about having that skill, the amount of time that you can be in there could be as short as a blink of an eye. You don't need to spend too long.
So how long should one spend in there?
When you are skilled, it can be just a blink of an eye. You decide.
But if it's not skilled yet, Mazuki, then
So that's why I said the process is you need to allow yourself to feel. There is acceptance. Let me give you an example. When my father passed away, we were not surprised. He passed away something like 5 years ago, and he's been going through illness for several years before that. When the time came, yes, I felt sad. The sadness was there. I felt that, and understanding this skill, I say, okay, I'm feeling sad. I'm noticing it in my body, that sadness I'm feeling, and giving myself permission to feel sad. So I just sit quietly and just feel sad. And my mind went, so how long do you want to feel sad? 2 days. I said to myself, okay. So just giving myself the space to feel sad for 2 days. And after that, after the 2 days, then I came to the next step of accepting and appreciating, asking the question, so what do I appreciate about my father? Then I begin to bring in all of those meanings of appreciation that allows me to move forward. So how long do you need to be there? In my case, in the event of my father's death, I gave myself permission to be in there for 2 days. Because in the 2 days, what's happening out there is not going to adversely affect me. However, if I were to be there for 2 years, then it's going to adversely affect me. So this is where I need to lose my mind and come to my senses as well. So even though I'm consumed by the fear, I'm consumed by the frustration, I need to come to my senses and say, okay, so how long can I allow myself to be frozen by this negative emotion? So let that tell me how long I can give myself permission to be consumed by that fear.
Thank you so much. Yeah, the example really helps.
To add to that, I think, Cleo, I really like that question, because I think the question, or how long, it's until you are sick and tired of it. When you are sick and tired of it is when you know that it's long enough, and very often that's when it drives us to action. So, when it drives us to action, and sometimes as a coach, we often ask our coachee, so how long do you want to carry on with this terrible feeling? Are you tired of it? Do you want to get out of it? And it's until they really feel they've had enough, that's the right time for the change. And the other thing I wanted to point out that was quite interesting that Tina was talking about when she came to fear, and Mazuki was talking about the acceptance of fear, is we mustn't forget that fear is not a bad thing. Fear is actually healthy for us. Because if we did not have any fear, we would cross the road when a car would hit us, or we would put our hand in the mouth of a tiger in the zoo. So fear is actually healthy for us. It's a very good or common emotion. It's, in fact, the problem comes not of the fear, but how we feel about the fear. And very often when Mizuki was talking about acceptance, one way to accept it is to give us permission to be fearful, is to say, okay, I give myself permission to be scared right now. I give myself permission to be afraid of the unknown. Because if we are angry at ourselves for being afraid, or embarrassed for being afraid, it's not going to help. I often like to talk and give the example of a baby and a mother. If fear is the baby, what is the mother? Because if the mother is scared of the fear, imagine a mother being scared of her baby. And you are both the mother and the baby. So if you are angry at the fear, will it help the baby? No. So how do you want to feel towards the fear? And that will generally really calm that down. And a last point I was going to make, because I really like this question as well, how do you motivate? And often with the clients I work with and the leaders, one of the things that I find is two things. Firstly is they forget that their staff and their team are human beings, because they see them as the people of the job, or employees, or numbers, or the figures that they need to do, or what they need to bring in. And when we do that, we don't treat each other very nicely. And sometimes it just takes a second to say, they're just human beings. They're just people like me. They have mothers and fathers and concerns and fears. So if we want to inspire people, the first step is to recognize that they are human beings, because nobody cares what you know until they know you care. And if they know that you care, then they'll be following in what you say, and it will help you when you're inspired. And the one thing that I find missing today is what Brene Brown says so nicely, is vulnerability. Managers and leaders are scared of being vulnerable, of saying, I know, I'm scared. I don't have all the answers. We don't know what's going to happen to your job, but I'm here for you, because that takes vulnerability. And most leaders are scared of being vulnerable. And yet, love is on the other side of vulnerability. Brene Brown has a beautiful saying where she says, vulnerability is at the core of shame and fear and our struggle of worthiness, but it is also the birthplace of joy and creativity and belonging and love. So in times like this, if we are able to be vulnerable with the people that we think we need to be strong for, and we see each other as humans, we can actually inspire ourselves, isn't it?
Wow, that's like what vulnerability. Yeah, doesn't it take us all down to reflect right now? Where are we with that? Being vulnerable with ourselves and our teams. What if we've always have been showing ourselves to be strong with everyone, how do we then switch from being strong to suddenly becoming vulnerable? Can we just share a little bit? I mean, so I know many business owners, many leaders that portray that. And now at such a time, it helps to be vulnerable and to be able to really share what's really inside. How would someone shift from always being strong to not suddenly being vulnerable?
So one of the things that can help you is to just blow out the complex equivalences. I mean, people have this notion that a strong person is this, and this. So if I am feeling scared, therefore I'm not strong. So it's about making those those distinctions about what is strong and what is not strong. For example, we talk about emotions. Some people come from the background that if you are emotional, you are weak. And then that's why leaders,
Yeah.
they are dealing with the staff, and they feel for the staff because they've got to fire 100 people because of the downturn, and then they are feeling compassionate to their staff, and they see that, oh, if I show that compassion, I will appear weak, so I have to look strong and say to those people uh, instead of empathizing with the people, say you're fired. So, so these are the equivalences that people make, and for us to move beyond that, to understand what makes you strong and what makes you not strong. And as Sandra puts it, there are, because you are not a one-person show. You are working with people. You are collaborating.
Right.
And being vulnerable is a way of you to bringing your people together, telling them that, hey, there are times that I don't know. There are times that I am confused myself. I need your help.
Right.
So it doesn't make you any less strong. And this is where the shift that we need to make. This is the kind of mindset that we need to be able to create that distinction of what is strength and what is not strength, because a lot of cultural influences have come into the definition of strong that makes, I'm sorry to say this, but I do notice that quite a number of women leaders, they try to emulate the characteristics of the men leaders, because they disown the feminine side, the caring, the compassionate side, because the cultural definition of strong is such and such. They are letting go of what makes them strong, that compassion that makes them strong, that permission to be vulnerable, that makes a person strong. It's causes for causes. When do you open up? When do you make decisions? And when you take action? So it's knowing when to allow which emotions to drive you. That to me is strength.
Wow, that's so awesome. So well said, Mazuki. That we have to reframe our mindset to think about what is strong. What is strong? Yeah, and I think this is a good time to really understand that being vulnerable, being authentic, being real. I'm seeing that the people are posting here. So many of you are just saying yes. They totally agree with what Sandra, Mazuki, Tina, you're saying. Yeah, it's good to be authentic with those around. Be genuine, loving support. Vulnerable is okay. Carol, Erin says give yourself space and time. Allow yourself to be vulnerable. So I'm seeing, the audience here is agreeing to the fact that you can be vulnerable, and that is what strong means at this time, because we have to be real with our teams. Awesome. Yeah, it's not being weak. Wow. Okay. Let's shift gear a little bit. I just want to talk about the 4 phases of change. So the 4 phases are: first, we're in denial. Then we go into resistance. Then once we pass through the resistance stage and go like, okay, I'm sick and tired of being fearful, being like, stuck. I'm going to the next stage, which is like, the stage of exploration. I'm open to explore, to do something different, you know. And then we finally go into the last phase, which is commitment. You know? So this is the typical 4 phases that we hear about, you know. So as we go through these emotions of denial, resistance, then exploration, and then commitment, let's talk about how all these emotions play out in our next question. I want to go into how do we balance, right, the many roles that we have as we are now stuck at home with the many family members and children and in-laws and what have you. All right, so think about how many roles do you play at home, right? So everyone that's watching, if you can just write down the many roles that you play, right, so that we can see the multiple roles that you have to play. As I get here, our panelists to just give us some insights on how do we balance multiple important key roles and still get work done at home. How has it been for you, Tina?
That's the a very interesting question, especially for all of us and like businesswomen as well, because we have many roles, and especially with the MCO as well, we also need to maintain the work at home. So of course, it's also have we consider about the goodness and also the thing that also keep us distract from the current roles. So again, similar like the teacher Mazuki mentioned before, we also set about the meaning. So based on the meaning, we know that what is the purpose of each action, of each emotion, and then we consider about the state. So how we react with different state. So be a mom, what should I do? What should I keep maintain in this crisis time? But be in a businesswoman, what should I learn about our emotion to manage that? So be specific and also disparate. That's very important because somehow like me, even though like I'm a very normal person, so when we often we cannot disparate that state. So we keep the stressfulness, we keep the emotion there related to the business to push on the family and the children. And vice versa, we also allow us with the state of the boss to consider the behavior, the unconsciousness behavior when we react to the children, to husband as well. So somehow we need to separate the state with different role first, who I am now. And then after that, we consider the other relate. So for the next step, I think the Mazuki can input more for this.
Thank you, Tina. Yeah. So we have multiple roles. You are playing multiple roles right now. Good. So, but it looks like you are doing, you feel comfortable managing both?
Sometimes, not always. That's why we are human. So that's why when I'm a coach, I also coach myself first. So before I also think about that. How to operate the multiple role is not easy at all. So that's why somehow when we, honestly, I just would like to share about my practical things. So whenever something happens, for example, when I work at home, my children come, and then, okay, I have the rules 5 seconds. And I take a deep breath, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay. And then I choose which one to focus. Okay, what do you need from mom? Okay, now I need to work first. And then after that, I let them know. So keep again for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds. That's very practical and simple thing. But even though 5 seconds is really like a child, but it allows us to keep a deep breath, keep calming for everything is going on here. Because when we are working or we are doing something, we focus on one thing and we ignore around. And then we forgot our state. The point is we forgot our state, who I am now. For example, when I really stressed with the deal, with the contract, with the employee there, a lot of things happen in the work. And then the children come, and then I use the same state. I keep maintain the state, maintain the emotion, maintain the stressful, and I go to her, my daughter, and then I react the same feelings. So that's why, okay, keep the state and then switch the tape with the 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, who I am, who is my opposite person, and then we switch.
Okay.
Honestly, to be a coach, to be a master like Mazuki or Sandra is become the natural habit. But to the new coach or to the normal people, we need to have the tactic like that.
Yeah, that's so practical. Yeah, and so just focus and do one task at a time. And if you have to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that helps. Okay, let's hear from Sandra and Mazuki. I'm hearing from the audience here. Yeah, it's like multitasker, one leg kick off, right? We want to do everything. Is it possible to be putting to be like wearing 5 hats at the same time, or should we be wearing one hat, take the hat off, wear the second hat, take it off, put on the first? What's the best way, you think? How does the brain work to handle all this?
In multitasking, we cannot avoid multitasking in today's world. The skill is to learn how to be single tracking when you are multitasking. If you are multi-tracking when you are doing a particular work, I'm referring to as you are doing that proposal to your client, your mind is also tracking about what your child just said just now. You are multi-tracking. It kills your productivity. As Tina demonstrated just now, it's about single tracking. So to move from the state of focus for work when the child comes here, to take that deep breath and fully turn to the child and address the child 100%. Your mind is no more about that project. Now your mind is fully on the child. So the skill of single tracking when you are multitasking, this is critical. Yeah. So single tracking. What kills your productivity is multi-tracking. As you are doing A, your mind is also tracking about B, C, D, E. So as you are doing A, your mind is only on A. And then to stop doing A, go and do B and be fully doing B. And one of the things that I do is, in order to keep the energy up, is that our energy tends to drop off after about 60 to 90 minutes. So what I do is I segment my work to 60 to 90 minutes at the most. If let's say I'm doing my accounts, my company accounts right now, I'll not go more than 90 minutes, because if I were to drag on, I may spend more time, but my productivity will be shot by that time. So I deliberately break it. So I break in with, say, 10 or 20 minutes break. And what do I do in that 10 to 20 minutes? Probably, but this is when I do that activity, the 60 to 90 minutes are my Q1 and Q2 activities. Yeah, activities that are important. Quadrant 1 and quadrant 2 activities, those go in the 60 to 90 minute segments. In the breaks, 10 to 20 minute break, that's when I bring in the Q2, Q3, and Q4 activities. So probably in the 10 minutes break, I say that, okay, let me just scroll on and see what's on YouTube, or I'm watching Avatar: The Last Airbender right now. So
thank you, Mazuki, for sharing that. Yeah. For those of you who are wondering what is quadrant 1, 2, 3, 4, Mazuki is talking about time management. The quadrant for what's important and urgent. So yes, we do want to prioritize what's more important and what's less important, right? And do what's more important first. And so you feel good when you do what's more important. Then do the lesser important thing after that. Thank you so much, Mazuki, for teaching us about single tracking. So every time we focus on something, it must be 100%, right?
Yes.
Not 80-20, not even split 5 to 20% each. Okay.
And Tina knows exactly when she is not 100% with her child knows.
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay. All right. Let me hear from the audience. Yeah, I'm just saying that. Yeah, they're saying that. Yeah, what you are saying is so practical. Tina, they love what you're saying. How you treat your children. This is cool. No multitasking, but multi-tracking. Okay, Neil says, there's one says, Neil Chin, yeah, says, I'm not multitasking, but multi-tracking. Is that good? Well, Mazuki talked about single tracking. So yeah, you decide for yourself which one you prefer to do. Should we 100% or should we split the 100% into lesser than 100 to 20, 30% each, right?
Yeah.
All right, shall we hear from another mother? Sandra, yeah.
So I really like this question, especially now during the times of lockdown, because I don't know if I'm the only one that's suffering from Zoom-nitis. Hey, we're Zooming all night, all day. It's Zoom-nitis. So during this whole different way of us in lockdown, we used to already have routines. We'd have breakfast, get into the car or public transport, get to work, get to the office. Now we actually need to build a different type of routine, because as humans, routine is pretty much what stabilizes us. So what is your new routine? Because it's very easy at home not to have a routine, right? You don't get dressed anymore. You can be your pajamas, or you only dress from up for Zoom meetings. And, you don't have to shower every morning when you wake up. You can sleep in. And so the new routines are really, really important. So what is your new routine? And then there's routines, and then there are rituals. So in neurosemantics, whenever we do training, both routines and rituals are important. So what are the rituals now that you can do? So with Tina's lovely story with the daughter, it's actually important now because your home and your work is all together. So now we need to find rituals, So some of my clients, when I was talking to them, they said they've got show me the love ritual. So, once a day, they're going to pick a time where they can go and show the loved ones in their house they love them, and then come back to the office. Or they can do social rituals. What are the social rituals that you have? I know some of my friends say they, on a weekend, get together on Zoom and play cards. And so what are your rituals that you want to introduce, and what is your routine? Because those are really important when you're now working at home and you have to mesh work and your personal life together.
Yeah, that is so good. So we do need routines. That's right. So that we have some stability and rituals. Maybe we talk about some rituals, right? So like I like what you mentioned, social rituals. So what are some social rituals that we all do? Right, so let's share in the chat, right? What is a social ritual of, like, when do you spend time with the people in the house? So what does that social ritual look like? What do you do with people in the house? Maybe some of you would watch TV together, watch a drama together, maybe have karaoke session together, right? What else do we do?
And exercise. Exercise is also very important. How do we do that?
Yes. How can I forget that, right? How about cooking rituals, right?
I love it.
Yeah, I'm seeing more and more people doing that. Yeah. How about outside? Because we can't go out anymore. We don't meet people outside anymore. But do we continue that same ritual of meeting them? Maybe over Zoom, of course. What are some things that you have completely lost that you cannot do even through Zoom now?
The first thing that comes to me is walks in the forest. I can't do that now.
So What did you replace that with?
Oh, I go back to my photographs. I go into the forest. I take photos. So I visit the forest through my photographs.
Okay. Let's see what the others are saying. Yeah.
Cook together.
Talk to neighbors. Chat on what's on the stove today. Great. Talk about cooking. Zahira says we can focus well within the first 60 to 90 minutes. We focus the most tasks within that time, like what Mazuki said, right? That's based on, wow, an ultradian performance rhythm. Awesome. And yeah, Erin says cook together. Let me see what else. Oh, I love this from Marsha Teo. Single mother. Yeah, that playing a role as a leader, entrepreneur, coach, mother, father, daughter-in-law, sister, everything you name it, Marsha is doing it.
Wow.
Yeah, right. That's a lot of roles here. So, would you like to give some advice to Marsha?
You know, that's so important, you know, what Masha's saying. You know, we really need to value the single parents out there today, because they really are all these roles. And Masha, the most important thing I always say is take time for yourself. Even though sometimes you feel like it's impossible, but for the children's well-being, for work's well-being, for everybody's well-being, Mazuki said earlier on with that oxygen mask, you know, sometimes it's, even if it's just 15 minutes, half an hour, that you do something that you love, whether it's taking a nice long bath or a walk around, or whatever you can do, or listening to music. It's so important for single parents to give themselves that time, because if you don't, you know, you'll burn out, and that's not going to help anybody.
Remember to have time for ourselves, right?
And if I may add here is, this is where it is important for you to know how you rejuvenate. People rejuvenate in many different ways. So some people, they have the extroversion rejuvenation, some are introversion rejuvenation. So you need to know how do you recharge your batteries. So for somebody who recharges the battery by from the extroversion and people oriented, they want to be with people. And under lockdown, you cannot be with many people. So how do you do that? Do that virtually. So you just need to learn your body, how your body rejuvenates. And if you are not able to rejuvenate the way that you normally do, learn how to expand that. Yeah, Dr. Michael Hall, the co-founder of Neurosemantics, he was mentioning about, there was a time when he was conducting training back to back 40 days in a row. So he said, and he being more introversion in terms of the way that he rejuvenates, being in front of the crowd day in and day out doesn't give him much time to rejuvenate well. So what he did was he shifted his meta program. When he's in the classroom, he shifted his rejuvenation meta program into extroversion, so that when he is with people, he's able to absorb all of those wonderful energy and be rejuvenated. So it's about having the skills in the right place and to be able to apply them. So know how you naturally recharge yourself, and ask yourself that under these circumstances, am I able to recharge myself the way that I am used to? For example, in my case, I mentioned to you, every week I'll be going into the forest for about 3 or 4 hours just for a walk by myself. Now I'm not able to do that. So how do I replace that? So I find something in order to replace. As I mentioned, in my case, I love photography. When I go into the forest, I take photographs, and I'll spend about 10 minutes a day or something, like not 10 minutes every 2 or 3 hours, just to go through those photographs. That allows me to rejuvenate that particular aspect of me. Yeah. So knowing how you operate and how to counter the ways that are not, that doesn't match with the way that you rejuvenate.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Wow. Find a way to rejuvenate ourselves. That's so good. Yeah. Everyone, yeah. I'm just loving all your comments and inputs, and yeah, please keep going with the questions. We're past the hour. So let me hear if we should stop now or you want us to go on some more. Yeah, can you just put on your comments so that we can see what we should do about this? Yeah, and just put in your questions if you have any more questions. Yeah, about peak performance, about motivation, handling stress, and managing your daily life right now. Going crazy with that. Have we answered everything that you came here for? Any more questions? Yeah, keep it coming. Let me see. All right, people saying keep go on. You can continue. You guys want more? More of what? Can I see what you want more of? What do you want to hear from Mazuki, Sandra, Tina, myself? What is it that's on your mind? What's it on your heart? What is it that you want answers for? We're here to support you, and that's why we literally went around, our network and grabbed people who could make it at the same time and say, let's do something. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, people want you to go on. Yeah, let's take one more question. Maybe we talk about what? Let me see what you want to talk about. Motivation, stress. Thanks, Marsha. Yeah, Marsha, you got your answers. Yeah, and I see a lot of people saying, yeah, it's me time. Me time is very important. A lot of times we forget about ourselves. Just like many times we forget about our health, right? We do everything and then we fall sick. And we wonder why we fall sick. We help everybody except ourselves. And then we can't help others when we are sick. Gosh. Okay, so maybe let's go on for one more question. Maybe I'll take another 5-10 minutes. Let's talk about managing stress. Managing stress levels. Yeah. So when someone is already in a high stress state, yeah, what's your advice? And maybe give some examples on how one can, come back to a normal state of mind so that they can be more productive. Right. Who's ready to take that first?
So then I will go first.
Yeah.
All right, Tina. Take it.
So for me to be productivity and manage our stress. So the stress also, we have the 3 parts in our side: body, mind, and soul. So of course we need to balance that, because when we go to work, the productivity is the business side, but we also have like me time we have just mentioned. So first of all, we need to consider which element to make us stress. But for me, we can start it from the simple thing, from the body first. So when we get stressed, relax, and we give us the time to recharging the energy. Like for example, doing exercise, or we review and keep the healthy eating habit. Like multiple roles, we work at home, we also may be cooking, but somehow, especially with a single person, they can order the fast food or delivery very quickly, and they keep focused on working a lot. So that also raises the stress. So healthy eating habit, doing exercise, or maybe the sleep habit also keep you less stress for the body. For the mind and the soul, so when we work from home, there are a lot of multitasking and a lot of things we consider. We may forget the time. So time management is also very crucial for us to keep track of that. Like the advice from Mazuki before about Pomodoro, we separate tasks to the short time to be efficiency, and we also recheck us every time, and we still keep the default diary even though you work at home in the lockdown time. Where is the working time and where is the family time? Because if not, then we can confuse. That's also the thing to get us stressed. And I have some of my friends who have this crisis in the COVID time. It's not the pressure, it's the opportunity for their business when they go with the online digital marketing. So that's why they get more busy and more stressfulness. They work 18 hours per day. So that's why it's not like the same situation, but not the same result. So time management is also very crucial, and we need to learn how to say no to some things happen, some tasks happening, some emotion, some some action requests from the other as well. Saying no is also allow us the time to keep us not reach the limitation. Reduce the noise, also keep the mind keep healthy. The noise is not just the sound. The noise from the other elements keeps distract us. For example, like some people, they surfing internet with the social media a lot. People oriented make them surfing the internet, but when they see a lot of information, the news may be negative or something lead to their unconscious emotion acceptance. So that also bring the stress. And especially for the self, we need to consider who I am. So when we get stressed, then that's the time we forgot ourselves. We forgot about our strength, our things to nurture our soul. So we write down all the stressfulness. We do journal, writing the diary, something to let the emotion out. So something when we keep writing something, we also keep calming. We also have more time to be consideration about what is happening to us now, what makes us stress, what is the solution, and the other also keep us lengthen the time to keep us relaxing with thinking, with action, and with every plan we write down. And meditation and relaxation also the very good tips for us to maintain. So even though we're at home, we do meditation by music, active meditation while we're walking, while we're reading, before sleeping, and especially the morning when we wake up. So that's some tips we keep release the stressness in this time. So again, some people, they were quite free because they have no much task to do in the COVID time. But vice versa, there are a lot of people, they also really stressful with this. Like Mazuki mentioned, some people, they have people oriented, they feel lonely. And without that reference, without that energy, they feel stressed as well. It's just not because they productivity only. So those are the things the advice I can share to all of the audience.
Wow, did you all get that? I mean, that's like probably 30 different advisors, different points. So what is it that we start doing? What are some things that we may want to stop doing? Those that are negative, that doesn't help us, not resourceful to us, you want to stop. Yeah, and some things that you want to just continue because it's always been there and it's good and you can still do it. Wow, so good. Let me take a question
but I
here.
think Mazuki and Sandra has a deeper explanation for each of example.
All right.
In terms, Nietzsche Tin, he would like to ask about in terms of performance, how to manage the stress in terms of performance.
How do you manage stress in terms of performance? And yeah, let's talk about stress for like in terms of work for ourselves and the teams that we lead. How do we help, not just ourselves, how do we help our teams? What are some practical things that we can do that, we can help the team to relieve their stress?
For the team, I think communication.
Okay, this is where understanding the different needs of different people comes in. For some people, let me give you the example of my youngest daughter. She's already in college, 24. And when the lockdown came in and saying that you can't go out and all that, and she says, so what's new? Because that's how she has been operating entirely from her room. So no stress for her. So this is where horses for causes come in. Some of your team members require that almost constant assurance. So that's for those people, you need to be in frequent contact, maybe through texting, maybe through video. For some, they're just good by themselves. Don't bother me, kind of thing. So understanding how people operate is very important. And when you have a team, you have different ways of operating. Yeah, I'm attracted by one question from Cleo over here because it illustrates about how we rejuvenate. Cleo asked the question, I've been helping some business owners by providing free consultations. Listening to the struggles is starting to take a toll. So notice that. So if you are attending to others and attending to others is taking a toll on you, then you need to create a boundary. How much time you want to give to attending to others and how much time do you want to be by yourself? Because there are people who need time for themselves and there are people who wants to continue to serve others. So, so this is where there is no right or wrong. If you are the kind of person who feels energized by serving others, go ahead and do that because that's what energizes you. The example that I can give is my eldest granddaughter. She's 11 already, and the way she gets energized is by serving others, especially her mama. And when my daughter was carrying her youngest child, every time she sees her eldest child, she feels so relaxed, so comfortable because my eldest granddaughter, her name's Azara, I call her Grasshopper. Whenever she sees her mama, she'll ask, Mama, is there anything I can do for you? Mama, is there anything I can do for you? Because for Grasshopper, the way that she gets recharged is by serving her mother, by helping her mother. So in her case, serving somebody else is not taxing, it's not stressful, it's even rejuvenating. So know how you rejuvenate and take the steps to help yourself to de-stress and re-energize. So different people do it differently.
Yeah. So I think so. It's so important to communicate, and different people need different strokes, right? Let's just hear finally. Yeah, let's just hear from Sandra. I'm looking at the clock. Yeah, and so
yes,
I'm waiting. Don't go yet, everyone. Yeah, I have this amazing thing I want to share with you. So wait till the end. So we're gonna wrap up soon, but keep your questions coming. I want to hear from Sandra because I'm looking at the questions here. There's a question I think more about the balance, right? How do I know? Because I want to go help people. I that rejuvenates me. But when's enough? I don't really know what that balance is. How do I know when to stop so that I don't overstretch myself at this time? There's just so many needs around me. Yeah. If Sandra can address some of that, yeah, to help people.
You know, how do you know that? And I think I was thinking of that when I saw Marcia and a few of the other ladies, moms saying me time. Yes, exactly. Well, there's a big difference between knowing that and doing it. I'm wondering how many of those, Marcia and all those, that actually are going to give themselves me time tomorrow or the next day. Probably not. And this is the question, is to really focusing on your own needs very often when you are focusing on everybody else's needs, it's a message for you. You know, is there an underlying need of yours that's causing you to do that? Are you not giving yourself enough love so that you need the love from other people's appreciation? So sometimes these moments give you an opportunity for really introspection, and this is what self-development is all about. You know, we don't spend enough time developing ourselves, and yet it's the one most crucial thing to do. And today, millennials are actually quite good with this, self-educating, because they only go to school to learn school stuff, but they learn about apps and Instagrams and all these things themselves. And us in our generation, we don't do enough. And it's about how do we educate ourselves in terms of self-development that becomes really, really important. And I know because we're about to end now. So I had two quotes that I thought really puts together things that both Tina and Mazuki said. When Tina was saying sometimes it's taking those three, counting up to 5 when you before you dealing with someone else, and Mazuki when he was talking about the meaning. You know, right now in the situation that we face, where the future is unknown and scary. There's a very nice quote I read last week from Peter Hawkins, and he says, never let a good crisis go to waste. Never let a good crisis go to waste. So how do we reframe the meaning of this situation? And by asking ourselves, how can I use this crisis to make the changes that I may not be aware of, but that may be really important for me? And the other one, which I think answered a few questions that I saw further on about with your teams and how do we face that? How do we do that? Well, there's a very famous quote that came from, it's called the Stockdale Paradox. And it says, confront the brutal facts while holding faith that we will prevail is what we need to open our minds for new possibilities. Because sometimes we like to ignore the truth. Some of us ignore the truth and there's nothing wrong, everything's fine. And others of us focus too much on that and don't see the hope. So bringing it together is a really good balance of face the brutal facts. You know, yes, things are going to change. My financial situation may change, but keep the hope that things will prevail. So that was the last two quotes that I had to share with you today.
Wow. Thank you so much. Are you guys enjoying this? If you are, can you put your comments below so we can all read how you're feeling right now? Yeah. Are you enjoying, what Marzuki is saying, what Sandra is giving insights on, and the practical tips that Tina is sharing with us, you know? I think she can go on and write a book on, like, you know, these are the 50 tips for stress. Yeah. So let me share. If you are enjoying what you're hearing today, there's going to be a lot deeper stuff that we're doing. So I want to pull out this amazing live 2-day conference that we're doing on May 8th and 9th. Yeah, can I have that slide up now so I can share with the audience that we're really, really, really excited. This is coming up, guys, in just like 2 weeks' time. Yeah. So May 8th and 9th, we're having these 10 speakers from 7 countries that will be speaking to us and going deep into their own topics, okay? So I want to call upon Mazuki and Sandra to just quickly share with us what they are going to share during this 2 days that will be speaking to. Yeah, can I get let's put this away and let me hear from Mazuki and Sandra so everybody can see what you are going to teach us on these 2 days.
What I will be talking about is on resilience. That to me is a very important skill, especially when we go through this crisis. And the thing about this crisis is that there's nothing that I can guarantee you when we are going to recover from this crisis and all that. But there is something that I can guarantee you. Another crisis is going to come down the road, maybe a year from today or 10 years from today. So do you have the skill of being resilient, meaning to say, face a crisis, fall flat on your face, and just get up, dust yourself off, and move forward? That is a skill of resilience, and that would be what I'll be talking about. And I'll be coming it from the neurosemantics approach. I'll be bringing to you the stages that you need to go through in order for you to overcome a crisis. So when you know the stages, you know what states you need to be in the different stages, what mindsets that you need to be in, that allows you to recover from crisis all that much faster. So that's what I'll be talking about.
Awesome. So resilience skills and the mindset and the stages that we need to go through. Yeah. So guys, yeah, if you're into that, yeah, quickly sign up, okay, later when I give you the special code. Right, let's hear from Sandra.
So yes, thank you. So I'm going to be talking about the systemic leader future fit for resilience. And what I mean about that is today, in terms of developing yourself, and as Mizuki is saying, with the skill of resilience, we no longer we're moving away from being sole leaders to team leaders and then to systemic leaders. So a systemic leader is a leader that not only focuses on their own leadership skills or team skills or learns how to coach, but actually involves all the levels. So they see how do you, what are the important, what's the purpose that you need to serve all the stakeholders that are connected to you and your role. So not only your clients and suppliers, but the environment, the economy, the families, your families, the future leaders. So I'm also going to be sharing how to think systemically. What does systemically mean? Because it's not the same as systematically. They're very different. And I'll be sharing the 4 components of the systemic development. So what are those 4? And then integrating a little bit of what I was mentioning earlier about the 3 intelligences. How do you use that to become systemic in your leadership?
Wow, there's so many things. All right, so guys, systemic leadership, if you want to know more about that, plus all the different components that Sandra talked about, wow. So all of that, let me give you some, yeah, how much is this going for? Let's see. All right, so you can see over here that we are only doing that. They're like 10 different amazing speakers, and everyone's talking about how to be resilient in terms of leadership and the business and for yourselves. You can see the price is just USD $47, just USD $47. But because you're on the call today and at the end at the hour with me, we're giving you a special discount of 30% off. 30% off. Yeah. Are you all excited? Yeah. So the code, as you click on the link, is Thursday 30. All right. Thursday 30. Right. So remember that this is going to be for only the next 24 hours. Right. So it will be valid until Friday, tomorrow at 5 p.m. Got that? All right. So how many of you can't wait for this? Can I see some answers down here? Yeah. Tell us who's excited to come. Who's excited? Let's see. We need more. Okay, we are just gathering all of our good friends around the region to just share their area of expertise all together in 2 full days. This is going to be 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. So you're going to get, busy the entire day for the next, for the 2 days, May 8 and 9. This is like unbelievable deal. And just for today, I mean, for me, USD 47 is just already a steal. It's just too expensive, you know. But giving you 30% off, my goodness. So this is just for the first 15 people, I was told. The first 15 will get this special 30% off. So as soon as you leave this call, do sign up. You don't want to miss this deal. All right. So let's go back and let's see all our faces again, because I want to thank all the amazing panelists for today. Yeah. All right. So you can look for the links and all that will be shared in the chat here. So yeah, you can get the link there. But everyone, let's give a big hand. Let's just say thank you so much to
Thank you.
Yeah, you spent 1.5 hours, and our hearts are just, I think, so motivated right now and so much more energized than when we first came in. So all the best, guys. We will see you again in our next forums. Do click to follow the Spark group so that you'll be updated on every live event that's coming up. Okay, so take care, everyone. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Everyone. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Mazuki, Sandra, and Chinue.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Tina, Sandra.
Thank you.
And
Thank you,
Jean.
audience.
Thank you.